Man vs. Machine is a hard game mode. Kinda. With trivial missions in the normal and intermediate levels to teeth-grittingly frustrating missions on higher difficulties like Advanced and Expert, higher difficulties require much more focus and coordination than the others, something you more than likely won't find with a bunch of randos. You'd either need to explain a lot during the beginning of the wave, or hope that Jose Gonzalez 2005 can hear you and he's not playing with his audio turned off as you try to shout commands at him. No other wave represents this level of focus, coordination, persistence, and game sense than Wave 666. If you didn't know, Wave 666 is a Halloween-themed MVM mission in which 920, yes you heard that right, 920 robots are thrown at you. Some being mini-crit boosted direct hit soldiers, 200% damage boosted huntsman snipers, tank after tank, coupled with the spy apocalypse. With all this, it's no wonder it's a very difficult wave, but not impossible. With the help of the right team composition, communication, and a lot of crit spam, you can stomp out the onslaught of these bots with ease. Now, this guide isn't meant to be your be-all know-all because I don't really know everything about MVM. I just know what I've picked up since I started playing it quite a while ago.
But Pip, aren't there already guides on MVM in Wave 666?
Yes. You know what I have to say to that? Go watch them. They can explain it a whole lot better than I can, and I'd rather you get as much knowledge as you can so that you get a better idea on how to play MVM efficiently. It'll be more beneficial to you and others you play with. So, enough talk, onto the guide. Now each class has some area they specialize in. For example, Spy and Heavy excel at killing giants, Soldier, Pyro, and Sniper to some extent are great tank busters, Engineer is required, and Scout and Medic can provide extremely vital support when the team needs it most. Some classes also have their downsides, with Spy and Heavy being virtually useless against tanks, and Demo Man having his job done by 3 other classes. This isn't to say that these classes are bad by any means, it just means that where they lack proficiency in some areas, that can be made up by your teammates. Once again, say it with me, this is Team Fortress 2. A spy may lack crowd control, but his soldier and sniper can make up for that, and vice versa when it comes to giants. We'll go through the sections that include each classes and their roles instead of going through each class individually, just to save time. Relying on your teammates is always a coin toss, but communication will turn that coin toss into a guarantee. Unless they decide to ignore all sensory input and put their sentry and dispenser on top of buildings. Speaking of, Engineer, by far the most vital asset to all man vs. machine waves in the game. Now Engineer deserves a section all to himself just because of how important he is to the team. Now there are a lot of robots in Wave 666, and to deal with them requires a lot of ammo. Now you could spend some hard-earned credits on ammo capacity and ammo canteens, or the Engineer could just... The Engineer's dispenser is a haven of infinite ammo and health. While the health gained is obviously nowhere near as fast as, say, a medic, it's nothing to scoff at. It can keep you in the fight when you're under fire, when you're on fire, and when under general projectile spam. Just be sure not to stand too close to it to save it from being hit from splash damage. The teleporter can get everyone to and from spawn in a flash, literally. The 2-way teleporter upgrade allows the team to go back to spawn mid-wave and restock on canteens and upgrades, allowing for a constant stream of crits and uber spam. Now lastly, the sentry gun is okay. The sentry isn't going to win any awards for anything. Giant slaying, that goes to heavy and spy. Crowd control and tank busting, 4 classes are designed for it. But what the sentry lacks in specialization, it more than makes up for it in consistency. The sentry gun has perfect aim, deals a steady stream of damage, and is an excellent bodyguard for the bomb, which is always welcome when you have a metric ton of robots trying to blow up your hole. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, not having an engineer on your team is going to make the wave way harder. No constant damage stream, no infinite ammo or health regen, and no teleporters make Wave 666 a massive headache. For example, my team in this clip wasn't doing the best, but we were still holding up against the onslaught. Mid-wave, our engineer disconnects, leaving us to fend for our lives and eventually succumb to the robots. Now this is an excellent example that really shows that the engineer is the glue that holds any MVM team together. The scout is very helpful in MVM as a whole, and especially in Wave 666. With his unmatched money collecting and ability to mark robots for death and douse them in mad milk, Scout is an excellent support class. His speed allows him to avoid most damage and keep the attention of robots so that the rest of the team can wipe them out. Mad Milk and the Fan of War are the most efficient weapons for the Scout to use for this wave. Mad Milk allows your team to heal off the damage they deal up to 60%. Now this pairs very well with the Fan of War, which increases damage dealt by 35%. This brings the total damage up, which increases the amount of health gained back for Mad Milk. For example, a Demo Man's grenade will deal 100 damage flat. Hitting a Mad Milk doused robot will give you 60 health in return. But when hitting a robot doused in milk, and when it's marked for death, you're dealing 135 damage and receive 81 health in return. The Medic is an incredible asset to have on your team for Wave 666. Now you're going to take a lot of damage during this wave, and you're probably going to die plenty of times too at that. So it's nice to be able to get thrown straight back into the action through the help of everyone's favorite German. There are a couple different things that the Medic can do that really help the team, such as Healing Mastery, Overheal Expert, and Canteen Specialist. Healing Mastery boosts the Medic's self-heal rate by 25%, boosts healing rate for your patient by 25%, and 25% faster revive rate per point, with a maximum of 4 points. Canteen Specialist allows you to share your canteens with your healing patient, as well as reducing the price of said canteens. This can come in handy in situations where you're running the Kritzkrieg and are in immediate danger. You can use an Uber canteen on you and your patient to get out of danger safely. Now the crossbow reigns supreme in every other part of TF2 except MVM. While it's still usable, you're probably better off using a syringe gun, for one reason only. For 200 credits, you can upgrade your syringe gun to use Mad Milk syringes, which douse robots for a duration depending on how many syringes you hit. Now this can come in handy when you're focused on reviving a dead teammate and a giant or large group of robots is en route. Now you can mark the giant or group with Mad Milk so your team still receives that healing that they so desperately need, and focus back on reviving your dead teammate. This group includes the Heavy and the Spy. Now both these classes specialize in whittling down the giant robots that show up during the first chunk of this wave. Firstly, Heavy should probably be your first choice between the two, since he's not completely locked to killing giants. He can also help out with the smaller large wave of robots not taken out by your crowd control. Now Heavy has the highest single target damage possible in MVM when he has maximum firing speed and he's up in the robot's face. When it comes to minigun usage, you should only really be looking at Stock and the Brass Beast. Stock is a no-brainer, and there's no way to increase your minigun's damage through upgrades, so the Brass Beast can help you reach certain damage thresholds and kill a little sooner. If you have a Pyro on your team, the Hulong Dragon can also be a viable option with the damage boost you get from shooting ignited robots, and the ammo penalty can be subverted by standing near the engineer's dispenser. It can even help to stay near the Engie during the spy wave to protect him and his buildings while your tank busters get to work. Heavy can also tank a lot of damage for the rest of your team with the help of resistances like the battalion's backup, the vaccinator, and buyable resistances. This allows Heavy to keep the focus of a giant and heal off all the damage dealt to him with the help of Medic, the Scout's Mad Milk, and the Fan of War. While the giant is distracted, your teammates can help whittle him down. Now, Spy is a bit of a special case. You can upgrade his knife attack speed and armor penetration and he'll shred through giants pretty quickly. But that's kind of all he can do. He can kill giants and he's very good at it, but is kind of lacking in other areas. Since the first few chunks of Wave 666 are mostly giants, this is great. You can get away with it for quite some time. It allows quick dispatch of giants and makes the wave go a little quicker, but Spy can't really do anything else. He's not great at tank busting, crowd control, or support. He can kind of control crowds of robots with his sapper, but it only stuns the robots when other classes could just kill them. This isn't to say that Spy is bad, he just lacks variety to his playstyle. Crowd control classes are self-explanatory. They deal with the large swarms of smaller robots. You're definitely going to need at least 2 crowd control classes in wave 666 because of the sheer amount of robots on this wave. Sniper is an excellent example. He can clear out huge swarms of robots with explosive headshots, and deal good damage to giants with damage and reload speed upgrades. His crowd control is unmatched by any other class because of how frequently and efficiently he can do it. Now, the only caveat to this is his skill ceiling. Now, it's just common knowledge that Sniper is harder to play on average because your aim needs to be spot on. On giants, it's not really a problem, but smaller robots are harder to hit since they're quicker and probably getting knocked around by your soldier or an air blast happy Pyro. Sniper can also use Girardi to help melt giants a little quicker, but your soldier is probably running buff banner or your scout more than likely has the Fan of War, so it won't be as much of a help. Lastly, Sniper can put his fair share of damage in on tanks with the Carbine and Bushwhacker combo. Maxing out the swing speed on the Bushwhacker and pairing it with the mini crits you get from the Carbine allows you to deal a steady stream of crits against the tank. Now, this isn't the best way to crack a tank, but if the tank is getting too close to the hatch and is still about half health, it may be a good idea to help your team out. Now, Demo and Soldier are both so knuckle-draggingly easy it's kinda hard to explain. Just shoot the groups of robots until they don't exist anymore. Just be sure not to pop the Uber Medic bots. Now, Medic robots always deploy their Uber charge when either their patient's health drops below 50% or the Medic's health drops below 50. It's important to make sure you have high burst damage to kill the Medic first without popping them, so classes like Heavy should not shoot them and leave it to the crowd control. Demo and Soldier both have high burst damage, so it's easy to deal with situations like this. Just be sure to hit them directly. Splash damage can cause Uber Medics to pop their charge and allow the bots to gain a lot of ground. That's not good. Crit Canteens and a Medic's crits charge can boost their damage even further and allow them to kill large groups of bots, big and small, fairly quickly. And a crit Sticky Trap can wipe out most giants on this wave with ease. Both Demo and Soldier have high damage that allow them to cut through tanks relatively quickly as well. Canteens come in handy here. Now, Pyro is a special case due to one item in particular, and I'm sure you can guess which one that is. Pyro is very good at tank busting simply because he possesses the Flog and the Dragon's Fury. The Flog allows Pyro to unleash several seconds of crits onto the tank after dealing 300 damage, allowing him to absolutely melt tanks. Literally. Since you can upgrade the damage of your flamethrower, this is made even easier. The Dragon's Fury is also very good at cutting through tanks, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Pre-nerf, this thing was unfair. Since you could upgrade the recharge rate, it allowed you to cut through tanks even faster than the Flog. Why they changed it, I don't know, but it's still very strong. The main argument against the Dragon's Fury is that it costs 200 credits more to do a slightly better job than the Flog, but in a wave where credits are plentiful, that shouldn't be an issue. Taking the Dragon's Fury as Pyro in wave 666 allows you to be more flexible as well. It allows you to fight the smaller robots from a safer distance, you get to keep your air blast, and you keep your ability to shred tanks. Also, just use the gas passer. It makes things go way quicker, and it's the only reason why Pyro is mentioned in crowd control. Now, there is no do-all, know-all, best-in-slot team comp for this wave, since different combinations can help or hinder your experience. For example, 2 scouts may not be the best idea since you're sacrificing potential damage for another support class. On the other hand, having 2 soldiers is a good idea, since not only do you have more damage, your team's crowd control and tank busting abilities are greatly increased. A good general lineup will look something like this: 1 engineer, 1 scout for support, 1 sniper, 1 soldier, 1 heavy, and 1 pyro. Engineer is the glue that holds the team together. Scout marks the robots for death and hits them with the milk. Sniper is constant crowd control. Soldier is your generalist, killing robots, big, small, and tank-like. Heavy is your strongest DPS for giant killing, and Pyro is interchangeable. Now a Pyro is nice to have for two main reasons. He's really good at cracking tanks, and the Spy Wave. At one point in the wave, you'll have 5 tanks thrown at you with seemingly endless spies to support them. An uncoordinated team will quickly fall to this part time and time again. I've gotten way too many clips of a seemingly okay 666 run, only for it to be ruined by this part. Having a Pyro takes a little stress off this part simply by holding down M1. Like I said, Pyro is interchangeable. He can be swapped with Demo, Medic, or even another crowd control class. This lineup isn't set in stone, and if you're comfortable and confident with you and your team's abilities, you can pretty much play whatever you wish. This video isn't meant to be a deep dive into every class's weapons and playstyles. That'll be a future video, and possibly a series. Wave 666 is pretty difficult if you're uncoordinated or just don't know what you're doing. Remember that you don't really need to know every little thing about MVM to overcome this challenge. Coordination goes a long way, so remember to communicate with your team for an easier time in and out of man versus machine. I hope you learned something from watching this, and if you did, let me know in the comments. And while you're there, consider subscribing and leaving a like. One of my favorite things to do in TF2 is to help out newer or less experienced players, and leaving a like and sub is the best way you, as the viewer, can support me in my endeavors. Once again, thanks for watching until the end, and generic YouTube outro. Cause you asked me what game to play, and I told you a game to play.
I can't do the
Do it again.
No, it's
Yeah, do it again.
Ah!